What's up, everybody? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick.
I'm Jammin John.
And we have yet another album review, or rather an EP review for you, because we found something that is just absolutely insanely heavy, and we have to talk about it.
Yes.
Imagine that.
Yes, what are the odds on this channel of finding something extremely heavy that we want to talk about? But we found it. We surely found it.
So we're going to go over the latest offering from Pestilent Death, Pathways to Infinite Malignity. This comes out also on the 12th of July on Rotted Life Records. It's been formed in 2010 in Los Angeles, California. This is their fourth EP. They have two full lengths. I actually own their second full length, Chapters of Depravity. And this band is just flat out brutal. Mm-hmm. Like, it's old school, primal, kind of borders on both just traditional old school, kind of just death metal, and then stupid heavy caveman death metal. Like this caveman, it's not a bright one. It is not a bright one. This one actually hurls its own poo at you, and it is ridiculously strong. I wanted to use a different R word, but don't want to get flagged.
This caveman hurls his own poo at himself.
Yeah.
That's how.
And anyone that passes by, and if he gets a hold on you, he will tear you in half like a phone book.
Absolutely filthy guitars. And one of the biggest, most present tones I think I've heard, at least this year. Like, that is a commanding guitar tone. Heavier than the weight of the earth.
Yeah.
Man.
Point blank, I will say this might be the heaviest EP I have listened to. It's 4 tracks, just under 17 minutes, and there are no breaks on here. Like, this is suffocatingly heavy and primal. There are very few intricate parts of this. This is either tremolos, blasts, or just the most relentless chugging, which this guitar tone is absolutely born for. The gross vocals, they're hyper distorted. It reminded me a lot of actually one of our favorite local bands, Mutilatred.
Yes.
Mutilatred is primal as hell, but also fellow California death metal acts, Ruin, very similar to that, and I would even throw in Undergang and Mortician in there too.
Yeah,
Take the heaviest things that you listen to and then just add this band to the list because they will probably make the cut.
Starts off with the song Cemeterial Befoulment, and right off the bat, just holy shit. Heavy, gnarly chugs. It sounds like they're walking down to hell.
Yeah, the production on this EP is dense. Everything is thick and just kind of overdriven. Again, this guitar tone on here is flat out ridiculous. I'm sure there's a bass mixed in there, but I feel like the guitars are very down-tuned and just ultra sludgy, so you can only really make out the bass when it's isolated, but the drums on here are gigantic sounding. Dude, every time the snare went off, I was looking around, did someone shoot a gun in my neighborhood? Yeah,
that's what I thought too. When it blasted, it sounds like machine gun fire, and I thought for sure I was going to have to hide under Nick's table.
And the blast beats are that full extension Mike Smith style blast beat where it sounds like you're trying to hammer a hole through the center of the earth. It's like a jackhammer on pavement, the entire time the blasts are going. And then when it settles down in a groove, it's like a shotgun blast every now and then. Everything about this album is heavy and suffocating and dense. The only breaks you really get are creepy samples. Preserved in Agony, I'm reasonably sure that sample is a quote from the Iceman, the notorious hitman / murder junkie that just might have been the coldest human being on the planet. I believe it's a sample where there was a guy that pleaded for his life and, it was begging for God, and he said, I'll give you a moment to see if God shows up and changes anything. And spoiler alert, God didn't show up. And, pretty sure you can guess how that one ended.
And the song Putrid Vatication, first of all, the monologue in the beginning of that one, I'm pretty sure it's from Evil Dead.
Oh, yes. It's 100% Evil Dead.
Yeah. But there's a little bit of dissonant melody.
Yeah.
In the end, towards the breakdown, that's really it.
It's actually throughout most of the song. That one is probably the most different out of all the tracks, where the main gear in here is brutality. There is no subtlety, no real nuance here. But I mean, this is a brutal, insanely heavy band. Why would you actually order subtlety or nuance or anything like that? You just want to be suffocated by riffs. But I will say the Putrid Vaticanation, whatever that word is, that one has like a little bit more melody, and those dissonant melodies kind of carry throughout. But there's kind of an issue because the guitar tone is so damn heavy when it goes to do those dissonant melodies. It's still kind of recovering from like the big droning heavy chugs and tremolos on there. But I kind of like the fact that that one is a little bit more evil and a little bit more sinister. It's slow and brooding. The tremolos kind of have like a incantation like vibe to them. And it's kind of a break from like the relentless assault and battery that this EP generates. I feel like you could brand this style of death metal as its own subset called I Want My Pain Inflicted on Others Death Metal. Because not only is it just relentlessly brutal, it is insanely loud. Like, dude, it is some of the heaviest production I've heard since the last time I heard heavy production, I'll be honest.
I actually had to turn it down. I had the phone up full blast when we played it, and it was so... Because it's so dense, and there's, like, we're talking layers upon layers of just... Bleh, and it was so loud, I had to turn it down. So, I mean, that's a good sign, I guess. If the point is to make this record heavier and louder than everything else, you did a good job.
Yeah. I mean, it's inescapable, too. It's like being stuck in a narrow hallway and someone's just launching bricks at you. Like, you can't juke.
Right?
You're just like, I'm taking another brick to the face, I guess. But for what it lacks, again, in, like, subtlety, nuance, some more clever, intricate riffs, because every riff on here is just primal, ooga booga, caveman, tremolos, or chugs. Like, they're catchy, they're heavier than hell, but what it doesn't have in all of the intricacies and, slightly evolved death metal stuff, it makes up for it in just, again, that raw heft and intensity. There's no escaping how brutal this album is. I will say, though, that Revulsions of Immaculate Flesh, that one, well, it's probably the fastest track in there, and it is just relentlessly blasting right out of the gate. I will say that one might have kind of pushed it a little bit too far in terms of how dense and how noisy this is, because there's just so much distortion on everything. I even feel like the vocals had more distortion on that.
Yeah.
And with the relentless blasting at a faster pace, it kind of felt like there was like an echo that kind of got stuck in the mix, where it sounded like someone was like bouncing a basketball really fast in the background.
And if it wasn't that, it was just noise. Like, there's just so much going on. And again, very tight space, getting bricks thrown at you, like, that's what you're working with. And I mean, to me, I didn't really mind it. I don't really mind noisy tracks so much. It kind of had like a Primitive Man vibe to it. But I mean, that's a knock. But at the same time, on a record that's supposed to be, knuckle dragging heavy, like, is it really a knock?
Not really. I mean, I compare this to like, it's some like weird collaboration between like a band like Sanguisugabogg and Nails. Like, all the noisy, kind of grindy energy, but kind of grooved up. And it's, again, it's so damn primal. But, I mean, at the same time, it's just thoroughly enjoyable. Like, this is pure meathead, just bang your head, grunt along with the band. It doesn't even matter that there are probably lyrics in here. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
It's just pure heaviness and rawness, and I can still 100% get behind that.
Yep.
And one thing that I can definitely get behind here is just groove. This is a very groove-laden album. We bring up Blast because, they definitely stand out because there's not that many. A lot of this is very groovy, mid-tempo, and it's just instantly head-bangable music. And I don't know, I feel like there's probably even a essence that's missing in here versus like their live show, because I have a feeling this live is absolutely intense, and I might have to actually bust out the earplugs.
Yeah, I will not leave the earplugs in the car like I did for MDF. Yeah, I mean, as far as any negatives are concerned, I don't really have any other than the fact that it's only 4 songs. I would be curious to know what 4 more songs would sound like.
Heavy.
Probably heavy. But I mean, I don't really have any gripes.
Yeah, I mean, my only gripe was maybe Revulsions of Immaculate Flesh with just, again, that weird sort of echo there. I do like that song kind of breaks up the pace. It gets a little bit faster. Because the first two are kind of similar, but similar in a really good way. Like, you know, they had just established dominance with the first track. It was just continued dominance.
Yeah.
Plus a creepy Iceman quote, which is insanely brutal in its own right, especially if you listen to it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think the big standout for me was the last track, and I'm not going to try to say that word again because I already screwed it up once. But yeah, the Evil Dead quote kind of does set the whole vibe of that song.
Yeah.
Again, it's a little bit more sinister and creepy. It's been a while since I've listened to Chapters of Depravity. I'm going to have to go back to that one and check it out. But yeah, this is pretty solid EP.
Yeah.
So overall, I'm going to give this 3.5 stars. This is the most brutal EP I've listened to this year, hands down. Mm-hmm. Still a lot of year left, but I don't know. Like, this feels like, you know, like if it gets any heavier than this, something's gonna break in my brain. If you like your death metal about as primal as it gets, like maybe not even caveman, like maybe this is like whatever that creature was that first crawled out of the water and it's like, hey, this lamb thing's kind of cool. I really hope nothing eats me. Oh wait, it's only me. It might be that level of primal in here. It is down to its most bare elements, but every bare element is played by bears. I don't know. It's just so snarling and heavy that it kind of makes up for, you know, any lack of nuance on here. Like, because I don't think that is the mission statement here. The mission statement is to absolutely cave in heads in all 4 tracks in here. Mm-hmm. Do that. If you're a big fan of like Ruin, Mortician, 100% Mutilatred.
Yep.
Mutilatred is probably the most similar band, hands down, to this. Check this out. It's gonna fold your face in half like laundry.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm gonna go ahead and give it 4 stars, actually. 1 star for each song, because it's got 4 songs. I don't know. Stank-faced, unga-bunga, knuckle-dragging heft. That's probably the best and only way I could describe this. From the very first note that hits, you're just instantly bleh. I like metal like this. This is right up my alley. Yeah, if you're a fan of Suffocation, Mutilatred, Fossilization, Zompantly, Full of Hell, Primitive Man, once again, take all the heaviest bands you can think of and just chuck this one right on in. This is pretty great. I had a good time. I don't know. I feel like I'm babbling. I don't know. It's good. I like it. I really like it.
So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out there, there's a link down below to thrallsmetal.com. Our Patreon link is there. It is also on our channel up in the banner in the bottom right-hand corner. But if you're looking for Thralls Metal stuff, you have to go to thrallsmetal.com. We have t-shirts, both old and new. The old ones are discounted, provided we have your size. And we even have hats. So if you're looking for any of that stuff, click the link down below.
Last but not least, tons of stuff going on at Thralls of Metal. Album reviews, is it metal, is it not metal, states of metal, collection updates, because this guy can't stop collecting CDs. Album rankings, we're about to rank Meshuggah, which should be equal parts fun and horrible, because I hate rankings, especially bands I really like. But anyway, we do all this stuff for you guys because we appreciate you, we love you, we thank you for being a part of Thralls of Metal, and to all our friends, family, subscribers, and people that have helped us along the way, we genuinely appreciate you. This is something really awesome that has become a giant part of our lives, and we just appreciate you being there for it. Thank you.
Yeah, you guys absolutely rule, and again, tons of stuff coming your way. Yeah, lots of collection updates. I was very busy in Florida, so
what are the odds?
Ready for a lot of those. But yeah, thank you guys once again. You guys rule, and we will catch you later.